Warning, this video contains spoilers for the animated Vox Machina series, Seasons 1 and 2. Hello YouTube and welcome to Cyprime Productions. I'm a new YouTube channel, so bear with me as I figure things out. Today I'm going to continue my ongoing series of building Vox Machina characters in Pathfinder 2nd Edition. As a reminder, I'm aware that D&D and Pathfinder are different games, and I'm not trying to recreate a character exactly. I'm just trying to see how the characters of Vox Machina would look in Pathfinder 2nd Edition. Consider this like the Marvel What If TV show. What if Vox Machina was in Pathfinder 2e? Another reminder, I have not listened to all of the Vox Machina podcasts, so this will mostly be based on the animated characters. I know the podcast and the TV show are different, but I only have so much time in the day, and I haven't gotten around to listening to all of Vox Machina yet. So yes, this is based mostly on the TV show. I may get some tidbits from the wiki based on the podcast, but the majority of this is based on the animated show's interpretation of the characters. Also note that today's video will be a bit different. Because some websites have not updated to the remaster as of this recording, I'm going to have to show you a character sheet in a bit of a different way. Now, I want to get started as soon as possible, but a few ground rules right off the bat. 1. I'm going to make a character that works in Pathfinder 2nd Edition. Because Pathfinder and D&D work differently, I may need to give some characters different skills, attributes, or abilities, or maybe even a different class in order to make their character work. I'm going to try and recreate the core of the character, not just jot down their D&D attributes. 2. I'm going to build them out to level 10 and without the free archetype optional rule. If you're a fan of Pathfinder 2e, you know what that means. Otherwise, don't worry about it. 3. I'm going to allow access to uncommon, rare, and even unique traits. Golarion and Exandria are very different worlds, and what is common in Golarion might be uncommon in Exandria, and vice versa. 4. I'm going to make a unique background for each character I make based on their unique backstory. This is actually super easy to do in Pathfinder, as the backstories follow a simple formula, and it's pretty hard to make it too powerful. I'm sure you saw the thumbnail. Today we're going to do Pike Trickfoot, the gnome cleric of Vox Machina. I've actually already made Pike's god, the Everlight, in a previous video, so check that video out if you want a refresher. The core of Pike's character is that she is a holy person and a great warrior, but also capable of great kindness. She fights with her trademark spiritual Morningstar and wears heavy armor. She's also probably the nicest member of Vox Machina, but that doesn't mean she's afraid to get rowdy.
What are you looking at?
Lastly, remember, this is just a fun experiment. If you don't like what I did, feel free to post an alternate take in the comments below. Let's just keep things civil, yeah? There's no right or wrong answers here, just alternate takes on the same character. Now, if you've seen my video on the basics of building out a character, you know the ABCs of building a character in Pathfinder. First is A for Ancestry. Pike is a gnome, and I see no reason to change that for Pathfinder 2e. Gnomes normally get a penalty to Strength, a boost to Constitution, Charisma, and one other attribute, but I'm not going to do that. Instead, I'll use the variant rule that gives any ancestry just a bonus to any 2 attributes we choose. For Pike, we're going to do Strength and Wisdom. Being a gnome nets Pike the ability to speak 3 languages, Common, Gnomish, and Sylvan, and a one-time bonus of 8 HP. She's small-sized and has a starting speed of 25 feet. Pike gets a heritage, which is her sub-race if you're from D&D. I'm going to go for Umbral Gnome, which just gets her dark vision, same as most D&D gnomes. The final bit of ancestry is the Gnome Ancestry feat. I'm going to take Gnome Obsession, which nets us the additional Lore skill feat. This lets us pick up Everlight Lore, the lore of Pike's goddess, which will automatically get skill increases as we level up. Next, B is for background. I've made my own for Pike. We don't see much of this in the show, but doing some internet research, we find out that Pike's background is that her village was destroyed by Kevdak's herd, the one that Grog belonged to.
Real bad things.
Come on!
I don't think you would have liked me too much.
And she was too weak to stop them, so she goes out on the sea for a third of a year to toughen herself up. I'd say that earns her a boost to Strength and Wisdom again, as well as training in the Survival skill, and the Sailing Lore skill. Lastly, each background offers up a skill feat, so we'll take the aquatic terrain expertise to represent her ability to survive on the high seas. Also, Gnome Obsession lets sailing lore auto-upgrade just like with Everlight lore. C is for class. Pike is a cleric, which nets her a bonus to wisdom again. We'll circle back to other cleric bonuses here in a sec, but we're going to finish out the rest of character creation. Lastly, we have 4 free attribute boosts, which for Pike we're going to go into strength, constitution, wisdom, and charisma, making her stats look something like this. Okay, circling back to Cleric, we're going to take a look at the Cleric page from the Remaster book and fill in everything we need here. I'll save you the time of going over everything as we're just jotting down numbers, and at the end of the day, they look like this. One thing of note is that we get to choose a few skills to be trained in. Being a cleric, she's automatically trained in religion, and being a cleric of the Everlight means she's automatically trained in medicine. We get 2 free skills of our choice. I'm going to choose athletics and diplomacy. Also, she gains a divine font, which basically means she gets 4 free spells a day that don't use up her spell slots, but those spells must be spent on the heal spell. Now, Pike has 2 choices for subclasses, either War Priest or Cloistered Cleric. The Cloistered Cleric is more spellcasting focused, and the War Priest is more fighty focused. I think we know where Pike stands. Being a War Priest nets her some armor training, and she can use the shield block reaction. As she levels up, she gets martial weapon proficiencies, and eventually the ability to be expert in those weapons. So this is how Pike looks at level 1. We'll give her some chainmail, a morning star, and an adventuring kit to round out her gear. She does have spells, but because she's a cleric, she can change them out each morning, even her cantrips, so we aren't going to worry about what spells she has. Now let's level her up. At level 2, she gets a class feat and a skill feat. Class feats are like class features that you can choose, similar to Warlock invocations in D&D or a Battle Master's maneuvers. We're going to grab War Priest's armor, which gets her heavy armor proficiency, which will automatically get better as she increases in level. As for our skill feat, I'm going to take Battle Medicine, which makes it so she can heal people with mundane healing as well as magical healing in combat, but only once per day per person. Level 3 nets us a skill increase, which lets us increase a skill to Expert. We're going to increase Medicine for a reason we'll talk about next level. We also get a General feat. I'm going to take Toughness, which shores up her hit points. We'll also get some class features that I don't need to get into right now. Level 4 gives us another skill feat, and I'm going to choose Continual Recovery, which lets Pike use mundane healing to heal her crew pretty fast outside of combat. She needs to be expert in medicine to get this feat, which is why we increased medicine last level. She also gets a class feat, and this is where things get a bit weird. So I've not touched on this before, but Pathfinder has things called archetypes, which let players sacrifice class feats to get abilities from other classes or from other concepts. So what I'm going to do is give Pike the Mindsmith archetype. This lets her summon a phantasmal weapon made of mental energy and willpower to her hand. This is her spiritual morning star. Now, I know in-universe it's supposed to be the spell Spiritual Weapon, but that's not a spiritual weapon. Spiritual weapons run around and attack things on her own. She doesn't do that. She swings it around herself. I think being a Mindsmith is the best representation of this ability from the television show. So she'll sacrifice her level 4 cleric feat for the Mindsmith dedication, which lets her summon her own weapon. The weapon is tied to a keepsake that she has, probably her holy symbol, and she can enchant her holy symbol with weapon enchantments as if it was a weapon. Those are then imparted onto the mind weapon whenever she summons it. So there you go, an in-universe reason for Pike swinging around that spiritual morning star. 5th level, halfway done with level ups. She gets to increase another skill from trained to expert. We'll do religion. She also gets another ancestry feat. I'm going to choose Gnome Polyglot, which just gives her a few new languages, like Dwarven and Undercommon, which she speaks in the podcast. She also gets to increase 4 of her attributes. We'll do Strength, Constitution, Wisdom, which only goes up a half point due to the weird way attributes work, and Intelligence. Since her intelligence went up, she gets trained in another skill. We'll go with Nature. Oh, also now that she's level 5, her Divine Font allows her to have 5 extra healing spells a day instead of 4. 6th level gets her another class feat. I'm going to choose Selective Energy, which allows her to not accidentally heal enemies when she heals a wide array of allies. She also gets a skill feat. I'm going to choose Ward Medic, which just lets her doctor multiple people at once with mundane medicine. 7th level gets her another general feat. I'm going to choose Fleet, just so she can move around better in that heavy armor. She also gets a skill increase from Expert to Master. I'm going to choose Religion. 8th level, she gets another class feat. We're going to sacrifice this one for another Mindsmith feat called Mind Projectiles, which essentially lets her throw her mind weapon and have it come back to her. She also gets a skill feat. I'll take Quick Jump, which just makes her better at jumping around. 9th level, she gets another Ancestry feat, and I'm going to pick up Project Persona. This effectively gives her armor the Glamored rune, which allows it to look like whatever she wants it to look like. So this version of Pike basically walks around in full plate, but to put people at ease when she's not fighting, she makes it look like she's wearing normal clothes. She also gets a skill increase, increasing her medicine to Master now. 10th level, we've made it. She gets a Cleric feat. I'm going to choose Restorative Channel, which lets her use one of her 5 free healing spells to do things other than healing, such as reverse poisons, diseases, or curses, like she does to Scanlan's arm. She also gets another skill feat. I'm going to choose Advanced First Aid, which lets her use medicine to get rid of things like the frightened or sickened conditions. She also gets to increase her attributes again, which nets her a bonus to Strength, which only goes up a half point due to how attributes work, a bonus to Constitution, a bonus to Wisdom, which finally bumps up another half point to a total of a +5, and a bonus to Charisma. Now, a quick run through of the items that I gave her at level 10. Her holy symbol should be +1 striking and have the Disruptive rune, giving her those bonuses to her Mindsmith weapon. I also gave her a Spellguard shield. Sorry, I wasn't able to figure out how to give her a glowing spiritual shield in this build. I gave her the team's Bag of Holding, which in Pathfinder Remaster is called a Spacious Pouch. She has +1 Resilient Full Plate, which is just magic armor. She also has 4 Storm Feather Talismans that are consumables that let her fly for short durations. And finally, she has some Greater Healer's Gloves, which make her better at medicine and also let her heal once a day outside of her normal spells. As a cleric, she can choose whatever spells she wants at the start of the day, though she probably regularly prepares things like Divine Lance, which is a cantrip that does spirit damage, as well as things like Vitality Lash, which hurts undead specifically. Holy Light is a big old beam of, well, holy light. It's not a cantrip. And Breath of Life is a lot like Revivify, only it also heals, can be done at range, and is rank 5 instead of rank 3. I also couldn't find a Pathfinder spell that enchanted a bunch of farm implements all at once. Disrupting weapons can upcast to a maximum of 3 weapons, and the spell Blazing Armory, which creates weapons made of fire, can make a maximum of 5 weapons. I suppose it could just be the Bless spell making them better at fighting, I suppose. I don't know. If anyone has any spells they think Pike should for sure have, let me know in the comments below. And that's it for Pike Trickfoot. I'll show her character sheet on screen for a sec. When Pathbuilder updates for the remaster, I'll make sure to edit in a link in the description so you can download her level 1 and level 10 character sheets. If you made it to the end of the video, thank you. You may not know this, but YouTube tracks if you actually finish a video or not, so thank you for watching all the way to the end. If you want to see more of this content, please like, subscribe, and drop a comment. If you do, you'll tell both me and YouTube that you want to see more of this type of content. Thank you, good luck, and happy gaming!